Hello everyone and welcome to my new video. And what is this video about? Well, I would like to do some bass synthesizer sound design, sample it, go through the samples and find some interesting usable bits that I can use in my music. I'm going to start with a sine wave, run it through a load of distortion and a load of filters and have it whiz about the place, sample it, go through it and see if I can find little one-shots or little phrases that I can kind of re-trigger and turn into something musical. This is something that would probably work well in any genre or any style of music that you want, but I'm going to go for something a bit drum and bass. And especially for this video, I have prepared this little kit, which I've called DNB Vibes, which is the worst name I could possibly have come up with, but that's what it is. And so we're at 165 BPM. And basically, it's a collection of some synthesizer kicks and some acoustic kicks and some synthesizer snares and some acoustic snares and then two hats and a ride. And I've kind of macroed everything so that you can just hit random and get all these different kits. And I've just been sort of playing around with that. See, not the most exciting thing in the world, but might be useful just to get ideas going. Yeah, and then there's this louder dial which just dials in a little bit of drum bus, which I've recently just discovered that you can exclude from macro randomization, which I think is very interesting. So I can randomize all these other macros and not this one, which is kind of nice. So I can sort of just dial this up and make this really loud if I want. Oh! Yeah, so it's a pretty sort of generic kind of drum and bass loop, just to give me something as a backdrop for when I want to start coming up with these bass sample bass lines or whatever. Anyway, let's get on with it. Let's stop that clip. Let's go and get operator. We're going to use operator's nice clean sine wave. And we're going to maybe go down to, let's put a clip in here. Let's go down to maybe C0. Let's see what C0 is like. Let's get that, put that like that. And then what we can do is we can go in here and sort of select this region like this, hit loop, and then move the playhead to the start. And then we can create this like bass drone. This note will start and then just loop in this region. So there will never be a note off. Really decent. So we're at C0, which is very low. Okay, so let's start with, what shall we start with? Let's, well, we could use the auto filter. Let's use the new auto filter because that's got some interesting stuff on it. It's got this drive thing in. So let's clip it. Turn up this drive like that. Right, we're going to have to really watch our gain. So let's go and just get a limiter. Let's just get the limiter in first. All right, so I'm going to get an LFO and I'm just going to LFO that drive dial on that filter there. So let's get an LFO in. Let's put this to remote, click map and map the drive. And then let's try something like this stray. Yeah, let's try this stray waveform, which is sort of random. And then let's set the amount to something like 50% to 100% and see what we've... Pretty good. So I'm just going to make the bass kind of rumble and purr and roar and sort of just bubble about and yeah, let's see how we get on. So why don't we let's get another auto filter. Let's get another auto filter and see what we can get with maybe some notch. Let's do like see what a notch gives us here. Let's maybe add some more drive here. I'm just going to really badly gain stage this whole process. That's nice. Let's put that LFO there so it's with that filter. And then let's get another LFO and put it next to this filter. And we're going to do the same. Well, actually, maybe I could just take a copy of this one. Let's just hold Option and drag, and then we'll map this one to this filter. Okay, let's duplicate that and see. All right, let's go back to the first filter and maybe use some of these new modulation types. So we've got this wander. Yeah, that's nice. Let's dial that to the frequency. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, so now we're sort of starting to get some interesting sort of shapes coming out. Could maybe drive this even more right at the start. Let's go and get saturator in and maybe put the soft clip on. I wonder what the comb filter might be like. Let's try the comb filter. Let's get the auto filter in and switch this to comb. No, not really much coming out there. Let's put it after this filter. Maybe we need to turn the resonance up. Wow. Oh my goodness me. Let's put that back to before, after this saturator, before this filter. So really, it's all about, you know, the placement of the effects in these chains, which is actually a video I'm going to go into at some point later, because I think it's very interesting and very important. It makes a huge difference on the outcome. All right, so why don't we put another Wander LFO on this comb filter frequency? Let's see what an octave lower sounds like. Let's just go down one octave and see what it... Let's go up to C1. Let's keep it at C0. All right. Wow. Okay, let's see if we can let's really squash it. Let's get the OTT in, put the OTT in. We've lost a little bit of gain, so let's just bring that up a little bit. Here, maybe +8. Be too much resonance on this comb. Yeah, okay, all right. I think this is starting to... These notch filters aren't really doing it for me. Too much drive, maybe? Oh, that's better. Yeah. Okay, don't drive your notch filters, people. Well, you can if you want. It's entirely up to you, but I'm not going to. Not this time. Ah, okay, I see what I've done here. So this is mapped to that one, right? Okay, I've actually made a mistake here. So the full range was not really happening because I LFO'd the first LFO to the drive and set it at 50%, and then I've copied that. So all of these are wrong. Let's write them now. There we go. Yeah. And I wonder if we can maybe, where that low pass is sweeping all the way down, it's kind of killing the entire signal, which may introduce some transients when it comes back up. So if we get the drum bus in and maybe compress it, turn the transients up, what we're doing is a ridiculously unhealthy amount of gain staging. But because we're limiting it, you know, we're kind of still in the safe zone and everything. We're not even really in the red at all. We're just kissing the orange. All right. Wow. Okay, let's sample that now. Let's make an audio track here, and I'll just quickly rename it to bass sample and we'll set this to resample, and I'm just going to record a bit of it. Could do bounce new track if I want, but I'm going to do it the old-fashioned way and just resample it. So let's do that now. Let's have a look. All right, so that looks pretty good. We can obviously sample this as many times as we want, get different recordings, try different processes. Maybe the one that I've done here is not to your taste. That's fine. Go and do it how you want to do it. That's the whole point. Try different distortions. There's loads of different distortions, and obviously there's raw and there's amp, all these different tones. Let's maybe see what amp sounds like. Let's swap out saturator for amp. Yeah, this is good too. Some of it's kind of awful, but it's fine. Right, I'll leave that in there, but I'll put this one back on. Okay, fine. So we've got this nice sample. It's nice and loud, but not too loud. Can't actually see how loud it is, but it's probably peaking at something minus 3. Anyway, okay. So, and also we've got all these really nice juicy transients in here. So actually what we can do is just straight away go and get simpler, put simpler in here, drop this into simpler, and just play these sort of one shots. And the minute that you start re-triggering them, they have conviction. Some of them are a little sort of short. So I'm just playing these on my push. Okay, that's good. So let's maybe try laying down something in the context of our... All right, so if I can record something here. All right, quantize that. Right, that first one is slightly late. Yeah, see if I can overdub some other ones. Well, that one's good. So some of these just by themselves, you just re-trigger them and like you put some beats over it and it just suddenly becomes this terrifyingly satisfying. We've got this like grunt and then this and then some of these, which are really sort of zappy. So you can sort of make up these new phrases. If you were kind of to automate this, you could probably get the same results, but I just think it would maybe take a little bit more. It would be more painstaking, which some people like. I appreciate that. Me, I just like to make things as easy as possible. Oh, that one's good. Let's see if we can. So yeah, we can sort of build this phrase up by just programming in these chunks of this stuff. Let's see what we've got here. And then if you want to, you could just we could just turn the speaker on here and fill these gaps with maybe just something like this. so that's okay. Maybe not that interesting, but you know, you can see where I'm going. We're kind of building these bass lines out of this palette of sounds that we've just made completely from scratch. So it's this very sort of organic, iterative process of arriving at something that kind of makes you go, yeah, 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 yeah. And then if we want to, we can sort of move some of these bits around. Whoa. Yeah. And some of the, you know, you can sort of repeat some of these bits. Actually, that can be really effective. So actually, why don't we do something like a 3/8 note or so. Yeah, that sort of stuff. And then maybe we could maybe try selecting all of these, hitting Legato. Now, because they've sort of broken down into tiny little slices like this, they're going to cut off quite early. But if we put this into through, then they can keep playing beyond their slice region. But that can get a little bit troublesome because this is a very long sample. Anyway, let's sort of... So the thing is, yeah, if I play one slice at the start, it's going to play all the way to the end. Unless you hit stop, which is not so bad, actually. Okay, so you can sort of hear the difference there. This is sort of like... yeah. Okay, I've just seen the masters like incredibly loud. Sorry, YouTube, I forgot again. I just forget. Come up a little bit. Come down here and up on my mixer. There we go. All right, that is kind of fun. Yeah, so we could, you know, you can either sort of approach it by playing stuff in or maybe do, wow. Yeah, see, that's that thing happening. Right, so let's do like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, that's 2. Something like this. Yeah, so let's maybe like extend it out. And then let's get, let's maybe, oh, what should we do here? Oh my goodness me. So duplicate. And then just move these to different places. Yeah, this is going to work. Oh, that one was good. So the fact that we're, even though these are very abstract sounds and they don't really have any sort of real rhythmic content, really, the fact that we're just re-triggering them in that rhythmic fashion sort of reveals this rhythmic quality. Perfectly not. Actually, let's go up to 175. It's Thursday. Okay, Okay, so that is the first example, is that you just create this incredibly dense wash of nonsense on a sine wave, and then sample it and use the transients that have been detected. But we can actually do it another way as well. We can sort of just slice it into equal measures. So we're kind of doing the thing that we might do with breakbeats, but we're doing it with a bass sample. So let's go into beats, or rather region. Let's go into region and slice this up into maybe 32 regions. It's very, very much sort of the same thing, but you could maybe do... Oh, that one's good. You see how you can sort of hear these things? They've just got so much movement. So we could maybe do something like get some arpeggiator action here and just set this to eighth notes, and then just maybe... And then I might take like a copy of this loop here and just sort of change it into something like... I'm going to maybe change... Let's get rid of these two hats, move this stuff back. And maybe put a couple of... I can't remember if I added velocity in. I'm just going to do that now. No, I didn't. Okay, let's add something like 35% velocity to all of these drum sounds. And then let's maybe get these ones and just pull their velocity down a little bit, something like that. Maybe these ones. Yeah. All right. That one was quite good. Maybe I should have added transposition to the ride, though. Did I transpose the ride already? No, I did. Up 7. Let's go plus 12. Yeah. So let's go back to our bass thing and try this sort of 3/8 note phrase with the arpeggiator with that beat. All right, what we can do then is use this re-trigger. Let's put this to beat, I think. Yeah, so I'm just playing random slices on the push, just holding it, and the arpeggiator is just skipping around them. So why don't we like record something like that? Let's get some of these in. Yeah. Oh, that was good. I finished a bit early though. Yeah, okay, that's looking pretty good. So, yeah, so all I've done is just played like 3 random sort of chord bits. Let's maybe quantize that. Let's quantize settings. Oh yeah, it's here now, isn't it? Start and end. Let's go quarter note, start and end. There we go. Nice and uniform. Let's get rid of that one. Wow. Okay. All right. There's a huge amount of width, which I just did completely by accident. I don't know why it's so wide. Don't know what I did there anyway. Let's try a different randomization. I think that ride's a little bit loud. I've turned it so down though. It's really... you know what I might do? I might put like a high pass on this ride. Yeah, that's much better. Okay, let's say... I've forgotten how to do this. That one. There we go. doing this the whole time. That's fun, and it's very performative as well, because you can sort of like play it whilst you're sort of half playing it, half programming it. Just holding down 3 pads on my push. What the arpeggiator does is advances around those 3 pads in 8th notes, but with this re-trigger on, it restarts the phrase after one, I guess that's 1 bar. Yeah, that is drum and bass. That's drum and bass as fuck, basically. All right, then so the final way that I wanted to, well, maybe the penultimate way that I thought maybe I would like to do this is to use sampler and use it in sort of a more melodic kind of way. So I'm going to turn on my MIDI keyboard. I'm going to turn off key tracking. I really don't want that. And I'm going to, one voice. So let's go and look at the wave display, which is very, very small. They're not, it's actually not quite in tune, I think. Anyway, you'll see that when I re-trigger a note, look down here. It's always going to start from the beginning. That is really what I want. I want the thing to just keep playing, but I want to be able to transpose, change the pitch on my keyboard. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to put this into forward, backward, sustain mode. We're going to go to glide. We're going to turn glide on. Glide is on. And you can play around with this time thing if you want. Let's just leave it at 50 milliseconds. And then what will happen is that when I tie notes together, so that means I play a note, whilst I'm playing the previous note, I press a new note and then let go of the previous note. Legato, right? You'll see that it keeps playing. And it's quite funny to watch because it sort of speeds up and slows down depending on the pitch. So if I start here, I can go to E flat and it's still going. So what we're doing is scrolling through this huge fart. We're not like re-triggering it. And again, that could reveal some interesting movements. So I'm gonna like maybe record a bit of that without the drums, just to see where's my click? My click is not sent to my cue. All right, let's do that again. Yeah, that was good. Yeah. So if we look at the MIDI now, you'll see that I've kind of tied all of those notes together. What I've done, if you're a keyboard player and you kind of understand like legato, you're kind of sometimes playing 2 notes at the same time and you bounce back and forth between the notes. But what I did here was just hold this note and play other notes around it, and that creates the legato. So it's going to slide to that note, back down to that note. And so if we look at this with the glide off, let's turn the glide off, you'll see that the sample just plays from the start. Which isn't what we want. So if we put glide back on, then it'll keep playing through the sample, and then eventually if it gets to the end, it'll just come back because we've got forwards, backwards, sustain mode on. So let's watch that. Okay. I mean, it's very silly, but it's kind of fun as well. And then, of course, we can like put more filtering on. We can either use the filter in the sampler. Let's see how that sounds with this. Let's maybe make it a bit louder. Let's turn this up on, turn this filter off. Let's turn the gain up to maybe minus. Oh, yeah. Minus 4 is all right. Minus 4, yeah. If you want, you can sort of put some beat repeats in here to just kind of make it even a little bit more repeaty if you want, if that's your kind of thing. Let's go 1/6. Let's put this to something. Yeah, let's maybe put the offset at the start here. Okay, let's put it back. Let's try 1/3. Yeah, that was good. I see. So this is when I start thinking, yeah, sample that, get that just by itself. Just sample that one bit there. And then maybe we could just, what was this one? This was this. Yeah, sample this as well. Yeah. So the minute that you start sampling stuff down, if it sounds good, I say if it sounds good, just sample it, make a loop out of it and just have it, because it's, you know, I sometimes think when stuff is in the works, and by in the works, I kind of mean like we've made this instrument. I still feel like that when it's in that stage, there's still this sort of itch to go in and just make more, which might be what you want to do. But sometimes you just need to go, that'll do, that's it. Just use that, move on. And then you can get further to the end, and then you can get your songs finished like much quicker. But believe me, I am one to just go, oh, I could do another 25 takes of that idea and then have this huge amount of stuff. I'm not doing that now though. Anyway, so yeah, so the final thing that I thought that you could do is that you can go and get your recording that you've done of your weird bass fart jam and put it into, well, actually, no, just ditch that sampler first. Let's go to where it is. So this is it. We're going to slice it into these transients now, into sampler. So there's probably a decent amount here that we can get them all in without using up all the amount of transients that we can have. So we're going to go slice new MIDI track. I'm going to go slice to sampler. I've already made a sampler slicing preset. Don't ask me how to do that. I've done about 500 videos. I've done loads of videos. Google it. It's really not that difficult. So I'm going to go sampler, slice by transient, go OK. Right, so now I've got them all laid out on the separate slices on the keyboard. And then what we could do is we can go into the zone editor, select them all, right click and go crop sample. And then we can turn these all into one-shot sounds. So let's go and get that and just let that do its croppy business, cropping away, cropping at 80%, cropping at 90%, cropping at 100%. Let's go and find that now. So we can go to show in Finder, show in browser, actually. Go show in browser. Okay, so there are all our slices. They are in the current project. I believe they're in the current project. We can drag these all in, and now we've got a bank of these sounds. How exciting. It's warped them all. I don't want that. Let's select track content, turn warp off. Oh, it needs to think about that. Okay, now turn warp off. And then we can sort of actually select all of these again and go to launch and turn the quantize off. And then we can just sort of have a listen to them. Yeah, so now you've got these kind of little growly one-shots that you can sort of use like samples in a drum. If you're kind of doing a one-shot thing, we could put them into this. We could put them into this. Yeah, why don't we do that? Actually, yeah, let's do that. Let's go and get, how many samples slices do we have? We have about 65. Okay, that's pretty good. Let's go and get a sampler. Let's go and get a sampler, put that there. And let's go and get all of those slices Hang on a minute, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm too excited by this idea. Let's open that out. Yeah. Then let's go here, go select track content, and then get them, drag them to this track, which is going to open. Is it going to open? Yeah. And then we put them in there. Right. Okay. And then what we can do is, this is going to be interesting because then we can transpose them. Let's go to this. Let's go distribute ranges equally. And then let's make some more macros here. And let's map this to macro 9. And let's call this bass 1. Bass stab. It's a stab, really. Oh, I'm on the wrong track. Here we go. All right, that's kind of fun. Let's rename this bass 1, and then I'm gonna duplicate that, put that there. I'm gonna call that bass 2, and then I'm gonna go into this selector sample selection for bass 2 and map that to macro 10 and rename that to bass 2. And then what we'll do is we'll put them in the same choke group so that they can cancel each other out. Oh, this is getting a little bit much for my eyes. There's so much stuff going on. Right. Can you do the choke groups here? Yes, you can. So bass 1 and 2. Let's select both of those. Go to choke group number 16. It's fine. Right. So now they can cancel each other out. Okay. So let's go into our sort of groove thing here. All right, so yeah, they're going to need a little bit of envelope treatment. So let's go to bass number 1 and go to the global. So let's turn the release all the way up to K all the way up. A little bit louder, maybe. Let's say -4. And then do the same for this one, -4. Turn off the filter. Don't really need that. Maximize out the release. Oh yeah, and let's put these all to 1 voice. Yeah, so we're just kind of enhancing our drum machine idea with these little bass. And then let's maybe, yeah. Getting a little bit loud. We need to, but I need to put them into the, so yeah, I did a bus. Where's the bus? Yeah, here's the bus. So let's get these two and bus them. We need to go to the DNB Vibes A bus. Now they're in the drum bus, which is here. Everything's gotten sort of a little bit squashed. Yeah. That's fun. Let's go back to macro 3. Okay, time for a little bit of shameless self-promotion. Let's go and get some Ned effects. Let's put some Ned effects on these and just glitch them into oblivion, man. Let's do something like this. Something like this, maybe. All right, and then we could resample that, and we've kind of nearly got a song. Well, not quite. Let's do that here, shall we? Let's. Was a little quiet. I kind of like to resample things nice and loud. That'll do. Yeah. Okay. Go. All right, that was nice. Let's change the kit. That's good, yeah. Let's just sample a bit of that as well. Maybe the bass is a bit too loud. I can't sort of lost the snares a little bit. So yeah, I think, yeah, the basses are maybe a little bit too loud. Let's go to -8, maybe -8 dB on the sampler. Yeah, I might just sample a bit of me randomizing the kit. It's fun. Yeah, that was cool. I never really thought of doing that before. Resampling whilst randomizing the kit. Anyway, go and buy Ned Effects. Oh, fuck, I just deleted that by mistake. Right, so yeah, I think that's kind of really all I wanted to do. So let's just have a little quick summary, shall we? We basically made this sort of... And then we resampled it and we chopped it up in loads of different ways and even turned it into a one-shot library of bizarre neuro bass, kick bass. I'm not really very good with these things, but I'm just going to say it's gnarly. It's just some gnarly bass. And then, yeah, you can use those samples as like little bass one-shots or create entire phrases out of them with the arpeggiator like we did on this one here. It's a very sort of satisfying way to just come up with, well, your own ideas. You experiment, you extrapolate, and then you do something after that. You compose the thing, and then you make a decision, and then you move on to the next thing. All right, so I'm going to go and put this on Patreon now, where if you'd like to support me there, you can download this project, plus many, many more Ableton live projects, Max projects, going back pretty much 10 years. Hundreds and 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 hundreds of stuff to download. And your kind support goes towards me making more videos like this, which I hope you enjoy very much. I shall see you next time. Goodbye.